Hi, my name is Brandon Ferdig. This is DeeperInquiry. Thanks for joining us. Today my guest is Connie Nompelis. She's part of the NoMi group, a group that is working to help develop North Minneapolis. And so today on the show we're going to discuss North Minneapolis, the status of it, how it's weathered through the whole financial crisis, the foreclosure crisis, and where it's at today and where it's going in the future. So thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Love any opportunity to talk about NoMi and all the fantastic changes that have been occurring there over the last couple of years. As you noted, it's been a tumultuous few years for, in fact, most of the city of Minneapolis with respect to housing. Neighborhoods have been changing with people moving around as they either lose their homes or landlords lose their homes and tenants have to move. And the tenants may or may not receive decent notice either. I think that banks have gotten savvier and tenants have gotten savvier in maybe the last year or so for notification, but when this all first started, I heard a lot of stories about people that were just kind of out and, you know, maybe had a month notice.
You know, so when I say North Minneapolis, obviously that conjures up in most people in the area's mind their idea of, you know, crime, a lot of minorities. You know, it's very stereotyped because of its reputation.
Well, you're absolutely right about the negative connotations of North Minneapolis, that name, North Minneapolis. And I often tell people that I actually grew up in Southwest Minneapolis, and I don't know that I ever set foot on the north side until I was in my early 20s. I knew that it was this place out there kind of nearby, but it was a place where nobody I knew went. So I literally didn't even know how to get there until I was an adult and had a car and decided one day that I was going to check it out. So yes, absolutely, there's a very negative connotation to it, and this is something that the NoMi project is attempting to address. A lot of neighbors and a lot of real estate professionals went back and forth for a number of years on how to reimagine North Minneapolis, rebrand it, but as far as I understand, nobody ever really thought about changing the name or could figure out a good way to do it.
And has this new marketing effort sort of flowered from out of the financial crisis, like in the last 3 or 4 years, or has it been around for a while?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My first experience with this concept was actually a meeting for coffee with some other real estate agents, a loan officer, and a couple of neighborhood activists talking about how we could get realtors to sell some of the foreclosed properties on the north side. Because what we were finding is that since we lived there and worked there, we were seeing all these properties in a different light, thinking, well, they're so wonderful, why do no agents bring their clients in from other parts of town to sell them to them?
You know, if there's not a lot of properties being bought, if there's a lot of supply, a lot of foreclosed properties, then the price of the houses are all going to go way down, and that's what's going to make it so people come in and buy the property. But was that in itself not enough to make people buy the property?
It's not enough, and here's why. There are so many, and so many at such a level of distress that a lot of owner-occupants and certainly first-time home buyers have been shut out of the process of buying in North Minneapolis.
Why? Why was it so low? Obviously no one wanted it.
Well, yeah, and it was a countrywide foreclosure. It had been vacant forever. Obviously, Countrywide Bank was going through some issues at the time.
Okay, so that helped bring the price down.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's been a strategy recently employed in the last year by many banks to just try to dump their inventory at rock bottom prices. The thought being that, you know, if it's a good deal, it'll get bid up to its sort of natural right price anyway, and then it doesn't have to sit on the market forever.
But this one really didn't get bid up.
A little over a year ago, we did an analysis, and the average purchase price of a house in Hawthorne was about $33,000 for a single-family residence and $16,000 for a duplex. And the reasoning for that, I mean, because a lot of people would think, wait a minute, duplex, if you're going to see those two numbers, you would see it flipped. Right. Because, of course, a duplex produces income. But so many of the houses in Hawthorne are larger single-family homes that have been converted often very poorly into duplexes.
Oh, okay.
And so now it's sort of like not a whole lot of people want these duplexes.
It was just such an enormous crisis with the inventory, you know, investors losing multiple properties, and then vandalism that followed. You know, I think a lot of people probably heard about, you know, some houses blowing up because of copper theft.
Is that true?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why would
Absolutely.
copper theft make a house blow up?
Well, if it's gas line.
Okay, so then gas started leaking, and then someone sparked cigarette, whatever.
Something.
Was there any death because
No.
of that? Or? Okay. A larger portion of these foreclosures from landlords, more so than other
In
areas
North
of the Twin
Minneapolis,
City?
yes.
So there weren't a lot of single-family owned homes. These were a lot of
Well, there were a lot of single family, but they were